Hey, hi, it's Chris again. Welcome to, or welcome back to my channel. Sorry, I'm trying to get Katie's nail out from under my, or out from in my blanket. Because she stretched and it got in a blanket. I don't know if I'm going to get my, hallway table built and put together in time for Wednesday. And I don't know if Martin and I are going to get the egg grill put together in time for Wednesday. So, because I have basically two nephews, because my brand new nephews, because well, I have several nephews, but basically two brand new nephews because my sister is going to give birth to another one here shortly. I decided I was going to try these kits. They're from Red Heart. This one's a bear. There's other ones, and I'll pick them up as I go along. But these are like $10. I bought this a couple weeks ago. I'm going to make this and send it out to New York to my sister-in-law's house so that, you know, she has it for that baby. But it comes with your yarn, your stuffing, stitch marker, thread for doing little, like, noses and whatnot, the crochet hook, a sewing needle, and the pattern for $10. And I was like, you know I can put one together that's that size in a couple of hours or even a day or so. So I'll have that ready for Wednesday. So I'll show you like progress as we go along. This one's the teddy bear. I thought that'd be really cute for my nephew in New York. And I'm going to sit here and crochet and watch YouTube videos because A, I'm exhausted. And B, I have a migraine. I have a migraine because the cottonwood trees have let go. So sinuses and allergies and insomnia are now currently causing a migraine that's going on, I think, 4 days. Although I've grabbed extra caffeine because that will help a little. And I'm exhausted because between the insomnia, I did take a nap today, but also going to the farmer's market and then the grocery store afterwards, and at the farmer's market being like, oh, I feel great, I don't need to use my cane, I'll be fine. Bad choice by the time I got back to the car, although it didn't sink in on me until I sat down. And then when I got to the grocery store, I was like, oh, I'll have the buggy, I don't need the cart, or my the buggy, I don't need my cane. Another bad decision on my part. I came home and promptly took a several-hour nap. However, so I don't know how much I'm going to be doing as it is. I know that the video I'm making for Monday, the food for that I'm actually making tomorrow because we've decided we're doing, Hopi and I decided we're doing smoothies and snacks, and no, it's too hot outside, too muggy, and neither one of us are feeling the greatest, and I don't have the energy to stand up, although there's enough leftovers. I have energy to stand up, but not that long to cook. There's plenty of leftovers in the fridge, plus a whole, well, almost a whole pitcher of smoothie, so we're good. I'm going to start crocheting, and I'll see you guys a little way into it, and we'll do some things, and then I'll show you again, and then I'll show you one more time at the end. Alright. So I opened it, and this is just too cute. I've had this size yarn before. Of course, this is by Red Heart, and that's, like, oh, almost dropped it. It's tiny. And then the hook is tiny. It's a 2.5 millimeter. The little bag of yarn, or of thread and needle and stitch marker. The little tiny bag of stuffing. And then my instructions. So I'm going to get started on this. I just had to show you guys. It's too cute. This is interesting. Oh, we're going to do a magic ring. Okay. This is interesting because it's worked from the bottom up with the legs first. But a magic ring with a what? 6 single crochets. Do not join. Okay. This thread is not the tiniest I've worked with recently, but it is, like, compared to what I'm making for my sister for the baby currently, which is the only reason I'm not doing that at the moment is my arm and my wrist hurt. It is a lot smaller in thickness. I didn't know it was going to be from the bottom up. Legs, body, and head are crocheted in one piece from the bottom up. Arms, muzzle, ears, collar, and tail are crocheted separately, then sewn together. Okay. Do not join. 6 single stitch. Tug to tighten tail. Mark as last stitch. Move marker each round. That's why we're doing that. Okay. That's fine. I'll be back. This might be a little bit more complicated than I thought. So I stopped using the stitch marker in the legs because they're only 12 stitches around at maximum, and they're only 4 rows, so it made no sense I could count that. But look at, I've got the little legs are started, and then the body, and I'm on the 3rd row of the body already, and it's been like 20 minutes. So like I said, something this size, I know I can, you know, whip up in a few hours, or at maximum like 2 days, and I can put a video out for Wednesday for it, so I don't have to think about it in case I don't have the energy. If you're wondering what I just put on my neck, it's BioFreeze. This stuff is amazing. It used to only be available through a doctor or a chiropractor, which they're doctors. And now you can get it at like Walmart and online and Target and all kinds of places. I've gotten to the point where I'm about to do the last 2 rounds of the body. And right here it says to start stuffing. And I see why, because when I read on, it was like, oh, you're going to decrease real rapidly and then increase real rapidly, which puts like a bottleneck in your origami, which is just a fancy word for your crocheted stuffed animal. And so therefore, if you don't start stuffing now, you are not going to get the stuffing in there easily. This stuffing is really rather interesting. It's kind of like, the texture is not consistent. It's more airy. But I've only been at this for like, I don't know, half an hour-ish at this point. With moving the stitch marker, which I don't always use a stitch marker. And then he's like, whoops. Like so. Which I kind of like. And if you've never used a stitch marker before, honestly, they're used a lot in like knitting and not as much in crochet, and maybe that's mostly because I do both, but I am far more experienced with crochet than knitting because I see it goes faster, in my opinion, because of my experience with it, and therefore it's really simple. I recommend stitching all the way to the stitch before the stitch marker, then taking the stitch marker out, doing the stitch where the stitch marker was, and the stitch after that, then putting the stitch marker back in where it's supposed to be, which isn't in the last stitch you did, but the one before. So I'm going to keep working on this. When I get to the tail or the arms, I will come back to you guys, because I realized I didn't show you guys how to do a magic ring, and sorry, and if you don't know how to do it, it's actually really simple, but I use it more than I do chain black X amount join with slip stitch and then continue, because it closes off the hole a lot better. Like if you look at the bottom of the feet, and there's no knots right there. You just crochet over your tail. So I'm going to continue. I've got the decrease. And then another round, and then the increase round for the beginning of the head. So I did one, so then we do this to the decrease. So I reached the point of the top of the head. And he's stuffed. I can make a little person out of this color yarn. And I'm literally just following the pattern at this point because I want it to look the way it's going to. But I'm going to show you in just a second how much I still have. Like, I only have the arms, the ears, and the tail to crochet with this color. And I've been generous with my tails. I still have about half of the thing of yarn, which is silly when you look at it that size. I haven't obviously touched these yet. Look at how much stuffing I still have. Now, I know a lot of people would stuff this even more, but I'm giving it to a young child. So right now, I would say that I absolutely adore these kits. I haven't tried any of the other ones yet. But when you think you've got the pattern, the yarn, a needle, the crochet hook, everything included except for your scissors, for $10, I would say that's very worth it. What I tend to do when I have a stuffed one is I sew back and forth, getting the ends connected at the top, and then I push it through somewhere from the top towards the bottom, reshape the head so that I'm not like, or wherever I'm doing it, so that I'm not squishing it. And I'm going to leave this tail for a minute while I work on the other pieces, and then when I've got everything situated, I'm going to cut all my tails off. But this isn't going to, like, this is already knotted and then sewn in, and then it's down through the stuffing and everything else. The arms both start with magic circle, and so do the ears. And I'm assuming so does the tail. So to do a magic circle, you take your yarn, you cross it over each other. Okay. Then I'm going to flip it to where my cross is on top, and this long bit is in the back. Going to reach through that hole, bring that back around to the front to where I'm kind of like choking the yarn around that circle, and I'm going to chain one. Now I'm going to pull my little tail. You have a circle. This isn't a tutorial. I can do one if you guys want one. I am probably not the one to be following on these, even though I'm pretty good at it. I've been crocheting since I was, I think, 6, somewhere around there. And then you just crochet into that circle you made as though it were a chain stitch. So this requires 6, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, one more, 6. So there's my stitches, my single crochets. There's my tail and my magic circle. Why it's magic is you pull that tail and that circle disappears. Now if you're joining, you just go into your first stitch and you crochet over your end, over your tail, and it secures it in. This one doesn't want you to join, it just wants you to like Because when you join the stitch and then you chain one or however many you need to chain and continue your stitches from there in the round. This has worked more in a spiral. So it just wants me to work the next stitches, which for this is going to be an increase in everyone. So it's going to go from 6 to 12. Now it also says to put your stitch marker in, but because these are small, I'm not going to put my stitch marker in. The first stitch on here is going to be a little tight, especially since this yarn is small, and especially since my left side is beginning to act up. I might have to finish this in the morning. Got it. That's one. That's two. That's three. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This whole pattern is used in spirals instead of rounds, so you don't connect any of your rounds. Now when you get to the second one, you'll notice it's got this itty bitty hole right in the center, but if you pull on that magic circle again on the tail, try not to pull so, I'm having trouble because it's my left hand. Try not to pull so hard that you break the yarn, that your hole basically disappears. See? I'll do it better in a little bit. I'm going to maybe, how many rows do I have with this? 10 total for the arm. I might do one of the arms and then be done for the night because my wrist is shaking. So I'll probably see you guys tomorrow sometime with the finished product. I'll also see you tomorrow for what I'm doing for the farmer's market. Part of what I got from the farmer's market is literally going to be put in. No, I'll see you Monday for the farmer's market because of the asparagus. Tomorrow's cooking will go into Fridays. I'm confused because I have so much going on for this week. But then once I have a little bit of this done, it won't be as complicated for me to get the next couple of weeks done. Because sometime this week I'll get that table and that egg put together, and that's 2 Wednesdays right there. I have the 3rd Wednesday when it comes to showing off what the what my nephew in New York is going to get, and part of what my nephew in Indiana is going to get. I also had a niece that was just born, but I don't know if I'm going to send anything or not. I haven't sent anything for the other nieces. I might have to just make something and for each one of them and just take it down there when I do happen to go down that way. Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow for part of this. So you're going to see outfit changes throughout all of my videos this week, I think. Good morning. I literally woke up, called Martin, tried to go back to sleep, couldn't go back to sleep, decided to finish this crochet project after I went to the restroom. Got all the pieces I hadn't done last night done, which only took me one like 25-minute video on YouTube to watch. It wasn't complicated pieces. I did change the ears and the tail to where they weren't done in rounds. They were done back and forth in rows because I didn't want to mess with the rounds this morning other than for the muzzle. So now we're going to, come on, settle down. Now we're going to sew everything back together. Or sew everything together and put in the detail. I did change my shirt. So again, that's the body. This is the tail from the top of the head. I put it down through the neck. These were the arms. I need to kind of stretch them a little bit so the stuffing's perfectly put in. And then both of these with the really long tails are ears. And then we have a tail, again with a really long tail for sewing it in. The collar. And the muzzle. I'm going to pop back on one of my videos that I want to watch. I'm going to sew these on. And then, I'll show you the finished product. It's an arm. Alright. I didn't leave as long as the tail on these, but I still have this much of the main color. And I just left what was left of the white attached to the white muzzle, so that I didn't have to think about it. I'll be back. And done. So, do I think it's the best thing I've ever crocheted? No. Mostly because on this scale, it's a little bit hard to do what I normally would do. I have a couple strands here that came loose when I was doing it, which means the muzzle and the eyeballs are not the way I'd normally have it. But I love the way I did the tail. That tail is amazing to me. I've got one of my hairs sewn into it. There we go. And then the arms are wonky, which I thought was actually cute. But the face, you can see him a little skishy. And this is actually the collar, so it's not as bad when you pull the collar down. But him a little skishy. He looked like a happy bear. Look at him just like, I'm tired and I'm happy. Yay. I was like, ears kind of look like mice ears. The muzzle kind of looks not like a bear, but he's a cute little stuffed animal. So he's going to go into that with my new nephew's package. But a review of the Red Heart, little Yarn Inspirations Red Heart, or Amigurumi, however you want to pronounce it, origami crochet kit, stuffed animal kit, for the $10 price, with all of the yarn that it came with, the sewing needle for yarn, the stitch marker, the crochet hook, the stuffing, and the pattern instructions. I think it's a really good price. I think that it's very doable, and the instructions are easy to follow, and I will be doing it again with a different one. I tend to do these like in my own way when I make them, from my own brain, so that's probably why I'm kind of just like, oh my goodness, his little face is not how I would do it. But him is cute. Him is adorable. He's light and he's squishy, and the reason, especially on something this big, if you're giving it to an infant that you don't want to sew buttons on, you want to do sewn in eyeballs, which is another reason I kind of go, ugh, when I make these, is the fact that little bitty babies like to put things in their mouth. So, you know, you don't want to get a button in the mouth. None of this will come off. I super sewed it, which is one of the reasons why this arm is just like, hi, I'm gonna wave at you, hi, hello. Alright, I'll see you guys on Friday. I need to go edit this video together, finish doing Monday's video, and get that up before this one comes out, and then work on Friday's video. So, I'm gonna get these dogs doing what they want to do, and clean up my house, and do my editing, and yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I can't with myself.